Federal government silence on insecurity, a continuation of 1804 jihadist movement. Autumn. Governor Samuel Autumn of Benue State on Tuesday said that the silence of the federal government to killings by foreign militia headsmen is an agenda of ethnic cleansing and continuation of the 1804 Usman Dan Fodio jihadist movement across the country. Autumn, who made the remark at the Benue People's House, Makurdi, faulted the alleged federal government's biased handling of the security situation in the state and other parts of the country. The governor stated this when he played host to Doctors Without Borders led by Mrs. Fokuje Helsma, head of mission in Nigeria. Governor Autumn, who accused the federal government of playing nepotism, lamented that a section of Nigerians are treated as sacred cows while others are oppressed even when there are no provocations. According to him, the federal government has the capacity to arrest criminals, kidnappers, and killer herdsmen, but had chosen to remain adamant to activities of militia herdsmen, most of whom are foreigners. While noting that he remains an advocate of peace and unity of Nigeria, Governor Autumn said he is genuinely concerned and worried too that Nigerians cannot be protected in their homeland. He said he was happy that other leaders of the country across political divides had seen the evil agenda of the Fulanis and have started speaking against it. Governor Autumn thanked Doctors Without Borders and other development partners for their support to the plight of the internally displaced persons IDPs and pledged his administration's support to their operations. Leader of the delegation, Mrs. Fokuje Helsma, acknowledged the support of the government to their intervention in the health needs of the IDPs in the state. She appealed for the recruitment of more staff, especially in the area of health, by the State Emergency Management Agency, preparatory to take over from the organization. Okay, cool. Obviously this ties into history, in which if you look at things and you observe, it's not necessarily far-fetched. Why? Because as a Nigerian, it's okay for you to be like, okay, the government is not proactive in looking at these things and actually solving insecurity, especially us having a government or a president who the pattern is very clear and he has said it. His actions do tend to be very much pro-Fulani and anti anything else. It is obvious to see he's very much pro-Fulani, which is not a bad thing, but then it's like you're not leading a Fulani state. Do you get what I mean? Like where you're leading is very much diverse than that. And so with 1804, I mean, this is where you can actually argue that maybe British invasion was in a way a good thing, because the British invasion basically stopped the whole Sokoto Caliphate, which was made by Usman Dan Fodio. Usman Dan Fodio being a writer, scholar who, originated from present-day Hausa land. But then obviously he led the Fulani War, in which most of the Hausa kingdoms were basically colonized, and people describe it like the jihad led by Usman Dan Fodio. In fact, I'm gonna even look at the definition of a jihad, because I need to get. So jihad means a struggle or fight against the enemies of Islam. But then what does this mean? Because then apparently there are different meanings. So there's another meaning here that says holy struggle, but then if what seemed to be invasion, terrorism, and basically colonization is put under the umbrella of jihadism and Islam, then obviously it's not a good look. But it's like they describe the colonization and the invasion of Hausa kingdoms by Fulani, led by, Usman Dan Fodio, as the jihad led by Usman Dan Fodio. So that's what it is. So basically, he came, conquered the whole of the Hausa land, and then that's where the name Sokoto came from. So then the Sokoto Caliphate was formed. And then, obviously, with Britain obviously trying to, they didn't conquer Nigeria at once. It was like a little by little thing, batch by batch. Obviously, starting with the south, I think it actually started with the Western Yoruba kingdoms with the fight of the uncle and the king. That's a whole different story. And then obviously trying to infiltrate through other kingdoms like the Benin Kingdom and other places. And I think and that took a very, very long time. So with what do you call it? With Britain obviously trying to colonize the whole of Nigeria. I think the south was very much, to a very large extent, already taken up, even though that took a long time as well. What they also struggled more was conquering the Sokoto Caliphate, obviously made and brought about by Usman Dan Fodio. And if not for that, technically, because that took what? That took like years. It definitely took years. And the British had to even invent a whole new weapon, because the whole Sokoto Caliphate and how they go to war, they were very, very strong, force. So basically, the history of all that, technically, if not for you can argue with this, I don't know if I'm wrong, but technically around that same time, the British also colonized and took over the Sokoto Caliphate, and then from there, that was basically the whole northern Nigeria, and that's where we have it till today. Because if not for that, the jihad would have definitely infiltrated very much through to the southern part of modern day Nigeria, which is what it is. Obviously, we're now using big words. Ethnic cleansing. Now this is like, okay, you don't play around with words like this. Ethnic cleansing, in which you can argue about it, but arguments for it is that it's not far-fetched, because there is just excessive military presence in the southeast that is just unnecessary. Like, there are actual youths dying unjustly without any proper trial or proper proof of crimes that they may have committed, and it's not a good look, because again, the southeast region literally went through a genocide. They call it the Biafran War, but really and truly it was a genocide in which almost 2 million Igbos were killed. So with that history and now excessive military presence in the southeast, come on, are you like, you have to, it's clearly along the lines of ethnic cleansing, absolutely 100%. Arguments against that it may not be ethnic cleansing, I don't know, I can't really say it, because it's a different thing if the Nigerian government was, or the government at large was basically trying to stop Igbos getting into these political spaces and all that, trying to be on top. But then it's a different thing when we're not having excess amount of death. So it's like, okay, fine, we know you are fighting with these people and then you are clashing, but then why must there be an excessive amount of deaths and clashes and constant kidnappings and all that? It doesn't, it escalates the situation more than it should actually go. So yeah, that's what it is. So do you think Governor Tom is right? These are such big words: ethnic cleansing, jihad, Usman Dan Fodio, all this into one. Just give your comments on what you think, and don't forget to like and subscribe.